About having a kinship with some of these players who've gone through a lot and haven't been able to get over the hump. For you to get when Ovi handed you the cup there, what was that moment like for you?
Well, it was sort of a real special moment because we've sort of lived the same life a little bit. We had a conversation, obviously, we're down 2 games to nothing against Columbus. And we said we're winning tomorrow and we're going to go win a cup together. So we got a good bond. I think we have a good relationship, and I was really happy for him. I'm so happy for that crew, for all the stuff that they had to endure, all the things that were said about them, Ovi in particular, and Backy and that whole group. And to me, they changed all the narratives. They checked off every box. Look at every series. We were down in every series, come back in every one. It was probably fitting that we were down in this game and had to come back and win.
Left side, 4th row, Scott.
Barry, is this more meaningful to you because you don't know exactly what's going to happen next for you? And maybe did you approach it differently given that?
I don't know if I did. I think I approached the whole year the same way. And like I said, I got some clarity in my own, how I thought process, and I think just calmed everything down, and I really, I've done lots of good things in my life, and I will continue to do that. And so I wasn't getting consumed with what was said or, what my future holds or whatever. I'm in a pretty good spot.
Front left, Ken.
Barry, just as a point of clarification, when you went to visit Alex, that was last summer, correct?
Yeah, it was right. I saw him right after his wedding, before he went on his honeymoon.
Right. Okay. So, can you let us in a little bit on what that conversation was all about, and maybe how it might have put the seeds in place of what's going on now?
Well, I think me and Alex have always had very honest conversations, and sometimes it's not X's and O's, it's just life stuff. And I said, where we're going, we're still a pretty good team, and can be as good as we want to be, but we've got to change a couple things. We're not going to have the same team. We lost a lot of quality people, and so he's going to probably have to carry a little more of the burden. The game's changing, so you're going to have to come up with a few more tricks in your game. As you're getting older, we're going to have to train a little different so that you become the athlete that you always have, because the game, these young kids can absolutely fly, and you still got the skill set, you still have that, but we're going to have to lean more heavily on you, and you got to be ready for that. And you're the one that's going to set the tone. And, so what does he do? He comes into start of the season, gets 7 goals in 2 games. There's guys in this league who can't score. He gets 7 goals in a year, and he got 7 in 2 games. So he sort of set set the bar personally, because a lot of things were said about him that I think he is very prideful, and he just said, you know what, I'm going to prove you all wrong, and he did.
Back left.
Barry, can you talk about your favorite moment on the ice tonight? Something maybe you saw in celebration or a conversation you had?
There's all of them. On the ice, probably, for someone who wasn't a very good hockey player and never played in the National Hockey League, lifting the cup and getting to lift it with Alex, who we sort of got a little bit of the same story, if you will, that was pretty special. To me, it's all the sacrifices that your family has had to make, all the sacrifices of that. You miss important things, but I always dreamed about it. And when you're not a good player, you go, maybe I never will lift that cup, because you always play for it on the street and on your knees in the hallway against your best friend and stuff. And Jack Button, who got me a little bit in the coaching. There's a couple of people that today when we lifted the cup, with Alex. I was so happy for him, so happy for my family, and I was so happy for people who been really endeared me in this game. One was Tommy Bright when I was in Portland. I think he stood behind me before I thought I was going to get turfed one year I think in Baltimore. I think he was one of the guys he got behind me. Jack Button, who hired me, David Boyle, and one of my mentors coaching, Wayne Fleming. And when I lifted the cup, those 4 people came to mind.
We'll do 2 more standing up on the left side here.
Coach Willie Ramirez with the Associated Press. We got to lift the cup and then the Conn Smythe, but can you talk about how valuable Coos was in this run and also touch on Holtby's play?
Kuzi was fantastic. I mean, he took over games. That was a toss-up for me. I thought they were neck and neck, and if you ask me who gets the Conn Smythe, I thought, man, that's going to be a tough choice. Kuzi probably deserved it. You probably have to split that in half for me. They were both so good. But he's just scratching the surface. People are finding out how good a player he is. Exceptional talent. And then Holtz's play. I think obviously Holtz, just like all great goaltenders, you go through some dry spells in your game, or you lose your way a little bit in your foundation. I think when he sort of lost that number 1 role a little bit, where Grubauer sort of took over for a long stretch, I think 2 things happened. I think it reset him, got him back to his foundations. He's a blue-collar guy from Saskatchewan, and I think that got him back to a lot of those foundations and get him, acutely focused. And then, with Holtz, I think, we had a conversation, and he was very respectful. He understood that he wasn't going to start in the playoffs, but he said, if I get a chance to go back in, I'm going to be really good for you. And he was. And I think also when you get reset, you get a little bit of a break, because he's a guy that puts a lot into his craft. You see the preparation before games, and he didn't have to play as much too, so that might have been the difference.
Last question, Pierre, left side, 4th row.
Barry, I let out a giggle earlier when you said I'm in a good spot, because I was thinking a coach on an expiring deal has maybe never been in a better spot, but I know that's not what you meant.
Yeah, no, I'm just in a good spot personally. I love what I do in Washington. I love the guys, and so yeah, I'm just in a good spot, a good place. I didn't mean it any other way. I know you giggled though.
And if you don't mind me asking this, I know the timing isn't great, but I think so many people who cheer for you and are happy for you are also wondering about your future. I mean, do you think there is one with the team you just won the cup with?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.